Okay, so I'm just getting the stream sorted out. I need to mute the monitor channel. There we go. Okay, this is going to be a fun one. Who would have guessed that we would get to 10,000 subscribers? It's just absolute madness. Okay, we need to put some fuel in this thing. 70% should do. I haven't flown this for ages. Okay, who can remember how to fly the Beaver? Can we have centre tank? We can. Front and rear and centre. Okay. So there's the ignition switches. Oh crikey, it's so long since I've flown this. Radios, master. So here we go, battery. Master battery switch. Well, I haven't actually checked the volume levels yet. It should be good. Alternator on, radios on. I'm not going to do this in the right order. I don't think we'll cause a surge when we start the engines, but you never know, do you, with this simulator? Oh, something we do need to check is that I'm using the single engine control profile. I'm not. I'm using Twin Otter at the moment. So let's go and put this back on single engine if I can find it. It's going to be somewhere near here. There it was. Apply, go back, resume. Hurrah. So I should have now, yeah, I've got mixture control and I've got, so mixture control. Let's take the locks off because I'm using the Airbus throttles. So let's get the mixture all the way forwards. Propeller all the way forwards. Crack the throttle open. The GPSs have already come up, so we'll press enter and enter, enter and enter. Wait for the satellites to capture, and then we'll go and program some waypoints in. So we're going to go and put the beacon light on because we're about to start the engine. We'll turn the nav lights on as well. I'll put the fuel boost on temporarily. We have an engine. Turn the fuel boost back off. Right, let's just check the volume levels. You can hear me over it. Good. I'll maybe turn this down a bit. It's a bit noisy, isn't it? So yeah, getting close to 10,000 subscribers. I don't quite know how I've done that. I'm going to keep an eye on it during the flight. So if anybody sees it tip over 10k while we're flying, that'll be fantastic. So anybody that's watching, go click the subscribe button if you haven't done already. Who would have guessed a couple of years ago when I started putting videos out on YouTube that we'd get anywhere near this number of people subscribed to the channel? It's absolutely insane to me. Okay, so first things first, let's go and program this flight into the GPS. Well, before we do that, let's go and get rid of our co-pilot. We don't want another person sat in the cockpit. Oh, I clicked on the wrong icon. I want the weights and balances. And we're going to go and get rid of the weight of the co-pilot. So just let the engine tick over while we're programming things up. So go to the flight plan page and we'll put in KACV to 019 as the first waypoint. So KA17. Ooh, that hasn't found it. Oh, it's KACV. What am I doing? KACV. Enter. To 019 is Kneeland. So I need to click in here. 019. Kneeland. Enter. Should put the first few in. Dinsmore is D63. And then Ruth is T64. Notice the focus moves sometimes. It's really odd. Ruth was T42. Press enter. D63, T42. Round Valley is 009. So we're going to work our way down in 20-mile jumps, basically. 009 for Round Valley. Enter. And that's interesting. If we just found a bug. Oh no, it's still working. 028 is the next one. Enter. We have found a bug, haven't we? Kooky is the next one. KUKI Ukiah, sorry. And then 060 for the next one. We might as well put them all in, I guess. 060. If we get a crash to desktop at any point, I'm just going to go back into Little Nav Map and save it and then load back in with it. KSTS. Getting closer to the bay. Press enter. Now I've just pressed the wrong button now, haven't I? Clear that, clear that. KSTS OQ3, or is that a 0? That's a 0. 0Q3 for the Sonoma Valley. 0Q3 Sonoma Valley. Press enter. Then SAU for Sausalito. Just check that SAU. Sausalito. Enter. And then KHWD for Hayward Executive. KHWD Hayward Executive. There we go. That's the end of our flight. Okay, so that's done. Take the focus back out, go to the flight plan page, and we should find we have loads of legs now. And there we go. So they're stretching out across the map. Someone said I knew someone would mention the rattle in the Beaver. All you have to do is click the little cover down there on the we call it a dipstick in the UK. Sorry about that. I shouldn't really laugh about it, but okay, so I haven't calibrated the altimeter yet, which I've just done, and just calibrated the compass as well. And let's just have a quick look around. So we'll put the pitot heat on. We will have the landing lights on because we're going to be below 10,000 feet, but it's arguable depending on who your operator is really about that. So should we tighten these up so they don't rattle around? Just stop them from wiggling. There we go. And we're pretty much good to go. Can we make the tablet absolutely hide itself? I'm not sure that we can. Will it go into the drawer? I think it just switches on and off, doesn't it? I think there must be a click spot somewhere for it. Okay, let's have a look around. So we're at California Redwood. Wind is 15 knots, so we need to taxi down. So we'll turn right and follow the taxiway, basically. So off the parking brake, and just gently turn the aircraft round. I've turned the ground traffic off so we don't get any issues with crashing. with it loading models in. I've seen too much of that happen recently. So yeah, well, we're taxiing down. 10,000 subscribers. I can't quite believe it, to be honest. So I thought I'd come online tonight and just see if we can edge it over the top. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please go do so. Let's look out at the aircraft, see where we're going. I guess most of the subscribers have come from... oh, and let me just read the thing. Are you using the Got Friends Beaver mod? No, I'm not. This is just absolutely stock. I've removed all the mods out of the simulator at the moment because I was having some problems with crashes. Oh, there's a plane. Just looks like he has pogo sticks for wheels. Just going past. We don't need much runway, do we? We could cheat here because he's just come in. There won't be another aeroplane on that runway. We're not going to be using ATC. Whoa! Nearly had an accident. Just going to double back. We really don't need much runway with the Beaver. We're up. Okay, let's pull the throttle back a bit. There's no hurry today. It's going to be a gentle flight. Can we get through the wall? No, there is clipping then. We can't put the camera through the glass. Okay, but where are we supposed to be going? Let's have a look. Should we do some VOR navigation along the way? Although it depends, doesn't it, if the airfields have got it or not. No, they haven't. Kneeland is 138 degrees. Let's just fly this by hand anyway, just for a bit of fun. So we want to be going this away. Flaps up. Down that valley basically. Just going to have a little look at the nav map. I guess we could use, I never use this, the VFR map. Now is it going to show the route that we programmed? No, it isn't. That's really useful. But we can see the airport that we're going to. So we can follow along here and then climb out of the valley. So we can follow along the river valley. Make this a bit smaller so it's not in our way. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we tip over the top of 10,000 subscribers while we're flying. Let's go and put the autopilot on just briefly while I go and set things up. So if I go for that. Where's the heading bug? There it is. Go for heading mode. Actually, we don't want to go quite that angle, do we? Because we want to stay in the valley, really. So it's doing vertical speed mode at 0 at the moment, which is fine. I guess we could, though, go and set an altitude target, couldn't we? So we're at 1,000 feet at the moment. Let's go for 2,000. And press... If I can click on it. There we go. We're going to climb at 500 feet until we get to 2,000. Hopefully. If it behaves. We're doing 85 knots. Let's open the engine up a little bit more. So where are we heading to today? First leg will be Kneeland 019, but we're actually heading down 20-mile jumps down through the California coastline down towards San Francisco. So obviously we'll go sightseeing when we get there, but we got some 20-mile touch and go jumps along the way. So we're going to 019, otherwise known as Kneeland. It's a tiny little airfield on top of a hilltop. So that's our first destination. So we're just coming up to 2,000 feet. Let's see if this behaves itself. Will it stop? I didn't arm it, did I? These are always implemented a little bit differently than each other. And this isn't armed at the moment, look. And it's not coming off the vertical speed as we get to the altitude. He says as it comes off the vertical speed at the altitude. Okay, so it does work. So you don't have to arm this one. Let's have a look from outside. Might stay for a fly. Well, I'm not commercial traffic, so I'm going to turn my landing lights off. Over here, aren't we? It's quite cool how the instrument lights work on this. They look good. So Carpi is on hot by default. I've not actually looked around. Oh, I've got the cargo version, so there's no seats. So there's nothing in here to speak of. Feeling a pilot. There's no pilot drawn into it. It's a bit mysterious, isn't it? Is there an option to draw the pilot in tablet, maybe? Cabin, cargo, co-pilot visibility on off. Surely that's from inside the cabin passenger. Oh, that's the loadout of the rear of the aircraft, so you can either have the seats or not. That makes sense. Otherwise it doesn't really do much, does it? How are we doing on the route? We're about halfway, over halfway now. So let's go and climb a little bit and get up over the top of these hills, shall we? So we can see the airfield. So if we move the altitude to 3,000 feet, let's go for 3,500 and then go a vertical speed to get there of, can this do 700 feet a minute maybe? I mean, we're going very fast. We might even be able to get 1,000 feet a minute for a while. Now look at the speed falling off. Just have to be aware of it, I guess. Start looking out for Kneeland soon. So we'll turn south. So on the heading bug. If we go and change this to aircraft orientation mode and zoom out a little bit, we can see very easily whether we're heading straight towards the airport or not from where we are, because obviously we're only using this for rough guidance, so we want to go a bit more. Another 15 degrees maybe. It's probably about right. How are we doing on altitude? Coming up for 3,500 feet. I think we're going to have to go for 4,000 here now. So while we're doing this, let's go and see if I can get a second tab open in my browser and on the other machine and pull up the live stats so I know when we go over 10,000 subscribers. So YouTube Studio, I think I saw it in here. Current subscribers 9948. Looking analytics, I think I can get a live view of it. See live count. There we go. So we're at 9948 at the moment. That's fine. Okay, so we are approaching Milan, so we're going to start looking for it, and then I'll come off the autopilot and we'll approach. I think it might be here. See it from outside, maybe. It's quite a hazardous one to land out. I've landed here before. Might be up here. Might be up there actually. Maybe an element of circling here before we decide what to do. I dare anybody to have a crack at this one. According to that, the angle of it, we're flying towards it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I was expecting a grass runway, so that's why I was looking at this hilltop. It's not, it's on the next hilltop. Oh, that's an easy one. Okay, it's nice and short though, isn't it? Okay. So, autopilot off. I've got a disengage autopilot button on my stick. So which way was the wind? We looked earlier, didn't we? So I am flying directly into the wind. Okay, so I'm going to circle. We need to lose some major height here. It is super windy as well, which is not going to help our cause today. I wonder if I should turn the weather off. Yeah, this is far too fast a wind to do this, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn the weather off today. For this aircraft, these conditions, that's just ridiculous. There we go. We'll just go for a few clouds, which will turn the wind down to a few knots, so we won't have to concern ourselves with it. Now we're too low. Runway. only a touch and go, remember. This is such a cool airfield. Windsock? Yeah, the windsock was hanging, wasn't it? Oh, I've just seen the comment from Lissa. Yes, thank you very much. It has been hard work along the way. I remember when the Sim Update 11 came out, and I put the entire weekend aside to learn the new aeroplanes and to do videos and checklists. And the Airbus A310 was basically a 24-hour job, because I was half expecting it to be similar to the A320, but of course it isn't at all. So it was like learning an entirely new aeroplane all over again. Okay, so next leg. Oh, someone's coming to join me by the look of it. Next leg is 118 degrees over to Dinsmore, D63. So zoom out on the map, we should see there's D63, so that's where we're heading. It's a shame this doesn't show the lines. It might. Maybe it's because I programmed it directly. If I'd done it via the simulator, I think the lines would have shown up. Okay, let's come off the throttle a bit. Autopilot back on. Oh, we need to change the direction we're going first, don't we? There's the heading bug. So autopilot on. It will level us out and go for heading mode. Although saying that, I want to come and see this building now. Oh, autopilot back off. So this must be a known monument, or is it a we would call it maybe a bovie over here, like a hut for a shelter on the hilltop. Or is it a science station of some kind? Can't see through the window. That was great, wasn't it? Going up and down that road, would you? Well, we have an accomplice to the journey. Wonder how many people we can get in the air. A couple of accomplices looking at the multiplayer server. So anybody just joining, we've turned the weather down to few clouds because it was far too windy with the current weather to make touch and goes realistic. So we're going to fly low over the fields. I'll cut back to about 75% throttle so everybody get a chance to catch up if they are flying nearby in a Beaver. one of them. There's the other one. So D63 is next, and on the chart D63 is Dinsmore, and if we go and have a little look at it, it's in a valley, so it's a fun one to try and land at. Kilo Bravo Alpha says, "I'm behind you," in his creepiest radio voice. See what speed we're doing. Yeah, I need to open the engine a little bit. That's interesting. Gorgeous part of the world, isn't it? Behind me, should we have a look? Well, they were behind me. Fly outside for a change so we get to see some of the scenery. Something I'll have to look at some point is the fuel burn. Using the middle tank, yeah, I'm using far too much mixture actually. Let's cut this right back. Then we'll have some hope of going any sort of distance without drinking all the fuel. Let's go and switch over to the front tank for a while. Stream froze. Not for me, it hasn't. I'm monitoring the stream on a second machine and it's absolutely fine. So Kilo Bravo Alpha, you must be having issues of your own, maybe. I was going to say it's rare that I get any internet issues these days because I've got fibre to the house. So I doubt it's going to cause any problems. To go left a bit here. Looking for D63. Dinsmore is in the valley. Going directly towards it at the moment. Nolan's saying you always forget to switch tanks. Yes, so do I. It's only because you guys are all watching that I'm being mindful and thinking, what can I mess up today? The usual one with this is I'll leave the mixture on full and then wonder why I've only flown 200 miles on a full tank. Like, you know, where did it go? And then I think, oh, crikey. Left it on rich. Because we're at 5,000 feet. Nearly. 4.5. So George has said congratulations, thank you very much. Just have a look, we're still at 9948. So live streams don't seem to cause subscribers. I think it's the Airbus videos, to be honest, and the Boeing videos and the big jets doing the instructional stuff. It's interesting, someone asked me the other day and said, are you a real pilot? And I've lost count of the number of times I've been asked that. And no, I'm not. just an enthusiast like any of you guys. Although I do sometimes get real pilots emailing me and saying, right, what you did is great, but in the real thing you might want to show people that you would do this, that or the other. And the best feedback I've had actually was a real 737 pilot, and had a to and fro for a few weeks a long time ago, and he was the one that really led to the written procedure I've got being the way it is. And there were lots of things that, well, you've probably seen it yourselves, there's things that don't make sense in the checklists in some of the aircraft in the simulator, and in the real world, yeah, that wouldn't stack up either. And his comment on why you wouldn't do it the way the simulator said is, you might kill somebody. And he repeatedly kept saying it. Most of it was to do with the procedures around the ground crews, and like switching hydraulics on and stuff like that. I guess it's all changing though, because as aircraft become more automated, a lot of it happens, you know, fully automatically. Toro has appeared, almost 10,000. Congrats, thank you. Getting there slowly. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight, but I just thought we'd do this anyway and fly down California, and something to do, isn't it? And I haven't flown the... Ooh, my RPM's a bit high, isn't it? Should we turn the RPM down? It's better. But I've never really played around with the Beaver with playing with the RPM, and because certainly, yeah, it is accelerating, look, in level flight with a lower RPM, which is similar to the Twin Otter. Get the same kind of deal. Okay, let's have a look outside. We should see the airfield below us. Is that it down here? Looks like it might be. That's going to be a fun one, isn't it? We're going to have to plan this. Now, since I went to light cloud, 5 knots from this direction, so we need to circle round in the valley down there then. So let's go and cut the throttle. And see how we get on. We'll loop around in the valley bottom and then come in for an approach. Anybody know the code to 188 Coble Ronald? What's Coble Ronald? There's a bit of a scenery anomaly through here, isn't there? Look. You can see like the 3D water is not in the right place to track where the water in the river actually is. Or I presume that's what's happening. Either that or somebody was let loose with a giant blue spray can. Let's go and get rid of the VFR map for the moment, just so we can see what we're doing. Unfortunately, the visibility isn't great in the Twin Otter. So full flaps. Just keeping an eye on the indicated airspeed as we roll in. Ooh, huge stutter. So this is Dinsmore. D63. Coming in for runway 27. A touch and go. And I've completely messed that one up. Which is a good point. What altitude are we at? So we're at 2,000 feet at ground level along here. Anything at the side of the cockpit, can you? I think the just reading the comments about what this cockpit looks like, I think a lot of people have said, yeah, it looks like a cooker from the 1950s. And they're not wrong. Okay, so next leg is 22 miles over to Ruth, 127 degrees. So what we'll do is just pop open the little VFR map again. And if we... T42 was Ruth, yes. So we're going to the middle airfield there. So we'll just use that as a guide, and then we can actually fly along and have a look at the scenery along the way, which is good, a bit more fun. I need to remember to have a look in the cockpit from time to time, obviously, to check the fuel levels. While I say that, let's go and have a quick look. So they're down here. So we're using front at the moment. It's hovering a little bit. It's fine. So do we go for the... I guess we go for the water, don't we? It's the most direct route. So we're going to the next valley and follow the water along. Awesome scenery around here, isn't it? One of the tricks we can do, if we're careful, we can go into window in here, open the window layout and say minimal. And we can use little nav map as our map. It obviously gives us a bit more information. But to make it work, I need to go into taskbar, behaviours, and automatically hide, and close that. Then come back in here, close that. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? So you actually get the Google terrain view of the route, and you get the wind. So all that is little nav map turned into a normal window and put in front of the simulator for the capture on the screen, with all of its all of its dialogues switched off. I'm not sure if you can hide the menu bar. Probably not. Status bar. No, we've already got rid of that. I don't think you can hide the menu itself. Bit of a shame. Oh well. There we go. Okay, let's get out of this cloud. Nobody wants to do sightseeing through clouds. We'll just dip down below it in the valley. fast, getting near the red line. Let's pull that propeller back a bit. Right. So, what's this lake actually called? Shall we find out? Ruth Lake, funnily enough. We're going towards Ruth. We just passed over the Mad River. So if you wanted to join in, if you load in at T42, we're on the Southeast Asia server. The only reason I tend to use Southeast Asia for multiplayer is because it's quieter, so you don't get aircraft popping in and out as you might otherwise. Open the engine up a little bit more. How are we doing on the fuel down there? Still looking good. No need to go to the rear tank just yet. So we're just going along Ruth Lake. We should arrive at Ruth fairly soon. After we've done a touch and go at Ruth, we're heading down further south to Around Valley. We switch transmitter on while we're at it. See if we can pick anybody. Go fishing for pilots who might be running transmitter. And we'll say I am just plain old John Beckett. Virtual flight online. Connect. And you can see the second aircraft has now appeared, the red aeroplane, which is me, basically. Every 5 seconds transmitter updates your position on the map. So if you're doing a group flight, anybody running transmitter, you'll see the red aeroplane. So we use it all the time for group flights. I built transmitter, cool, must be 2 years ago now, just after Flight Sim came out. Primarily to use for group flights, to be honest. If you've not seen transmitter before, I'll just pop open a browser and show you what it does. Make this so it's not full size. So if we go to virtual flight online/who, it shows you who is using transmitter right now. See if we make this a bit wider, we can see we should be on here. There we are. Obviously if we go and click on ourselves, it will go and fly into us on the map and show us exactly where we are. Anyway. But yeah, the other trick it really does is it projects anyone running transmitter appears as a red aeroplane in Little Nav Map if you configure the online players in Little Nav Map to use it. So I'm not going to try and pronounce your name because I'll ruin it, but Ike Insan, is that right? Insan? I don't know how the stresses work on the letters, sorry. Has asked, sir, which app am I using for recording? I'm using OBS. The major thing to be, or major consideration though, is I have got 400 megabit asynchronous broadband, and that has got the biggest bearing on the quality of the stream. So it's looking like we do the same again, we loop around. So I've not got autopilot on, have I? No. So let's come off the throttle and just fall into the valley. It's going to be a bit more tricky, isn't it? There's not as much room to turn. If we're going to come in from the other end, we would have to go over the hill and then fall into the valley and follow the valley round, I think, to get a nice approach. Does that make sense? So we fly over here and then dip down into the valley and then come around for the approach. Lighting in Flight Simulator is ridiculously good, isn't it? I mean, how cool is that? Okay, start concentrating, I guess. Sit up in the seat. Ah, see, looks like our recent commenter has joined the group flights at Virtual Flight Online from time to time. So yeah, I started an online group called Virtual Flight Online, basically to give myself people to go and fly with, but I think everybody else has had the same idea, and you know, there's lots and lots of groups around now, and it is really good. So you know, I would say to anybody, don't go and just settle for flying with one group. I'm just dropping the flaps here, getting ready to lose some speed as we drop into the valley. To pull back a bit because I need to see the indicated airspeed when we do this. Gone to full flaps as well. There's the airstrip. Still very fast, but we're just doing a touch and go, remember, so it's not too much of a concern. There we go, and we're down. We're up again. So removing the flaps as we accelerate. See how we're doing on fuel as we're climbing out. So yeah, we're going to need to go to the rear tank now. The app I'm using for recording or for streaming is called OBS, Oscar Bravo Sierra. I can show you it. It's there running in the background. So you can independently manipulate the volume of the application and the microphone. You can do a lot more with it than I do. You can have different scenes with overlays, with messages, like to say if you were away from the computer or something. And you can set up the sources, so I'm capturing the screen, and that's all I'm capturing at the moment. But you could have other audio sources and so on and so forth. It's very good though, because it sets up a YouTube stream for you. There's almost no work for you to do. Okay, let's go and bring that map. Whoops, that's the wrong application. There we go. So we want to now go south, or more south than we have been going. So now we're heading Valley. I'm guessing we'll have to put some fuel in at Round Valley. See, OBS just lost its connection to YouTube by the sounds of it, and then reconnected. So someone's just said, let me know your location. You can see where I am on the map on the screen. We've just left Ruth, T42, heading south to Round Valley. We're on the Southeast Asia server. So working our way south basically, we're on the California coastline. We're working our way down towards the San Francisco Bay. Plane isn't on autopilot, I've just trimmed it out so it's not, hopefully not going to fall over and crash into a hillside. Yeah, on about transmitter again, I'm quite surprised that they still haven't opened up the API for the multiplayer aircraft in the simulator. Not entirely sure why they haven't done that. Because it means that, yeah, applications like Little Nav Map, where they could natively go and fetch your aircraft location, they can't yet. So it relies on third-party software like Transmitter. So, and that means that everyone has to go and run Transmitter just to broadcast their location, basically. Because all Transmitter does is sends your location every few seconds to a database on the internet. And then there's a little script I wrote that sits on the internet. So if anybody polls that script, it tells the application the location of each aircraft. I can actually show you it do it actually. Might be interesting to one or two of you. So if I go and put that back up, so virtual flight online /who is the nice neat map. If we go to IVAO_JSON, oh, other way around, sorry, JSON IVAO. Whoops, it helps if you can type. Oh, it's WhatsApp, isn't it? Sorry. WhatsApp IVAO JSON. There you go. There's the data. That's the new format, the JSON format for IVAO, and there's the abridged format. So if I keep refreshing that, you'll see the longitudes, latitudes keep updating. So that's what Little Nav Map is actually reading when it draws the red aeroplanes. The only reason I used IVAO's data format is because they had published their format. Nobody else had. Someone's asked, can transmitter show all planes if the plane is on? As long as someone is running transmitter, then their aeroplane will be broadcast to that database. So then if you plug it into something like Little Nav Map, you'll see the red aeroplanes. So if I look elsewhere, you can see there's another red aeroplane over here. Somebody else. You can see mine is there, look. Because it only updates every few seconds, you can see it, the update sequence versus the live position. Which is, 5 seconds is good enough. So we're flying over the hills just north of Round Valley. We'll be there soon. Mina, and then down to Indian Springs. Once we leave Round Valley, we'll head over towards Els Willits Municipal, which is near the town of Willits in Fair Oaks. Can you add showing all planes using plane? Oh, I already answered that one. Should go inside the cockpit for a bit. Make this smaller. Doing on fuel, should we go and double check? So we're using the rear tank at the moment. We've got about 8 gallons left. We've got 8 left on the front and about 10 left on the front. Sorry, 8 left on the middle, about 10 left on the front. So we could probably get to the next airfield, to be honest. Yeah, we'll aim to get to Ellis Willits before refueling. Here comes the cloud. Might have to start being a little bit careful about our approaches to airfields along the way. Perhaps I misunderstood the question that Grid3 came up with. Can you add showing all planes using the plane radar? That sentence doesn't make sense in English. Can you add showing all planes using the plane radar? Ah, so it shows everyone around you even if they don't use it? No. You will only see the red aeroplanes for people that are using it. It will not. Yeah, this is the entire problem. Flight Simulator does not give you programmatically any way of seeing where the multiplayer aircraft are. So there's no way for any piece of software to broadcast where the humans are. Which is why I wrote transmitter. So transmitter allows each individual to broadcast their own location, but the simulator doesn't let you get to where the multiplayer people are, or not easily. It's a real shame, actually. Yeah, the main map page shows all live planes. Yeah, I know it does. Within the simulator. But they don't let anything outside of the simulator get at that. That's the main problem. It's like, yeah, if we were to show the VFR map, then you can see multiplayer aircraft on it. Unfortunately, the VFR map's crap. Okay, we're approaching the airfield, so let's have a little look. It's directly below us, so I'm going to circle it while we have a look at the wind. So I need to come in from this side for the wind. So I'll circle, do a left circuit around the airfield, and then come in for an approach. It's a nice little airfield, isn't it? So what's this one called? Round Valley. Yeah, completely agree with you, Josh. The Beaver really is one of the best aircraft in the 40th anniversary pack. It is great fun, especially for group flights. Just flying low and slow, going sightseeing. They've put a mast right on the approach. That's great, isn't it? Let's just scoot ourselves forward in the cockpit so we can look out sideways and see the runway. Okay, next leg. Oh, we can see some extra people are joining us that have obviously installed transmitter. Fantastic. So I can see them on the map. and we're picking up some subscribers. Brilliant. I don't think we're going to get there tonight, but you never know. So we have to remember to refuel at Ellis Willits or Els Willits Municipal. So over to the right, we've got Leightonville is down there in the valley apparently. Maybe it's further over. Yeah, it's the other side of this ridge where Leightonville would be. What we're seeing there is that ridge there. I was look where I'm going really, didn't I, with so many hills around. Nolan's asking, when do you stream usually? I'd love to join in one day. I usually try to join in on the group flights with Virtual Flight Online on a Sunday evening. So that's 8 PM GMT or 2000 hours. And every week somebody puts a flight plan up for Virtual Flight, and you usually get about 30 or 40 of us. And we have voice chat, and you've probably seen it on my channel if you've had a look. I've live streamed it quite often. But in the week I don't tend to live stream so much. Usually because I'm doing some specific video about, you know, whatever's interested me that week to do, whether it's the G1000 or the 530 or why the GTN 750 is broken or or whatever aeroplane has come out that week. Thankfully there hasn't been any aeroplanes out for a while, so I've saved quite a lot of money. Because although my channel is monetized, I do actually go and buy all the aeroplanes that I look at. But the only exception to that, I have been given one of the aeroplanes by Coronado back in the day, and when the Mustang first came out, the Cessna 515, is it? Mustang? The developer approached me and said would I like to do an early look at it, and I did install it, and it crashed the sim, and then I replied and said, you know, I didn't want to review it before it was ready because I didn't want to give a bad impression. But yeah, I actually do go and buy all the aeroplanes that I've got, so yeah, Virtual Flight Online is quite cool. There's an airline as well, so you can go and run a piece of ACARS software which records your flights, so you can dispatch a specific flight plan and then go and fly the flight, and it will score you against a number of metrics. So things like, you know, did you operate your lights correctly? Did you manage your speed appropriately? Did you know, all sorts of things. But the major benefit of Virtual Flight Online is it just gives you something to do. There's lots of tours to go and fly. You win a badge if you complete a tour. So a tour is just a sequence of legs somewhere in the world. Let's have a look at the fuel, didn't we? Just to make sure we don't run out of fuel. So we're using rear at the moment, and we're down to 4 gallons. Whoops. Go back to centre. we've got 8 gallons in centre. That should be enough. Captain Ardy says hi. I'm on Southeast Asia. ICAM Insan says which server? We're Southeast Asia. It does say in the notes actually of the video. Or I thought it did. Yeah, the notes of the YouTube video in the read more. It's got the details. So at the moment we are en route to Ellswillits Municipal 028 on the California coast. So I can see where ICAM Insan is. He's about 50 miles north of me now. Travelling north. You can see Armin Addict. He's going up past Garberville. About 100 miles north. Or no, 60 or 70 miles north maybe. We're getting there. So we can already see the airstrip, so we don't need the map anymore. So there's Ellswillits. It's on the hilltop. It's an interesting one. So it's going to be a crosswind, but only a few knots. I guess we do left circuit again, just to make it easy. So let's pull the throttle back, roll in on the airfield, come down through the gap in the clouds that's very fortuitously opened up for us. You can see the beacon flashing away for the airfield. So we'll just go and do a left circuit to come into the far end of the airfield. Now I need to stop here and get some fuel, don't I? So this is going to be a full stop. A bit fast. Let's go and side slip it a bit to lose some height without There we go. It's better. Okay, where's the fuel? Flaps back up. Where was the fuel? I thought I saw it a moment ago. Do I have to go around the back of the building? Oh, there it was. It's a very inconsiderate place to put the fuel, isn't it? I presume it's the fuel anyway. Yeah. Right. Ignition off. If I can remember how to do that. There we go. So it hasn't popped up with the fuel filler. Okay, we'll just do it by hand. And we still had quite a lot left. 85%. Turn the ignition back to both. Fuel mixture to rich. And then hit the fuel boost and then the start button. And we're good to go again. Okay. Which way was the wind? It was a crosswind, wasn't it? Yeah. So we can take off either direction. We'll just go straight out. Okay, next leg. 21 miles down to Ukiah Municipal. Let's get this trimmed back out, shall we? And we're on our way again. I love flying over the towns in Flight Simulator and just watching below. It's just awesome seeing the scenery go past. It's such a feat of just software engineering, this simulator. It's ridiculous, really. Billions of trees they've placed. I mean, okay, they've used AI to do it for the buildings and the trees and the roads, but it's still a feat of programming. It really is. And when you take into account that it does seasons and changes the trees and puts snow loading on the roofs, and it's absolutely stunning. And the atmospheric modelling is just out of this world. We did a group flight at the weekend and we flew over Seattle. I didn't realise that much of the Seattle area has got photogrammetry, and it was just absolutely stunningly rendered. So Kilo Bravo Alpha says X-Plane's going to have to step up. I really don't think they can. Not unless they partner with somebody. The big difference with Flight Simulator, I think, is they've already done the partnerships. So obviously there was Bing for the mapping data, but they've done the Meteo Blue, the weather modelling of the entire globe. They've got the licenses with Navigraph to get the data every so often for the radio navigation. And the amount of work they've done with like modelling of air over hills is just absolutely insane. I don't know if Google would play with them nicely. They'd make them pay, and one of the big mysteries to me is what the long game is for Microsoft with Flight Simulator, because it must be costing them a fortune. And it may be that they're using it as a proving ground for grid software as a service, so for delivering this data and for solving some big problems. So where we've kind of looked at it and thought, the servers are having trouble today, people always point at Asobo and say it's them. It may not be. It may be Microsoft, and it may be that they're playing games with figuring out how to handle those loads. But they'll be looking at the higher level problem of doing that, for business purposes. So it may be that Flight Simulator is no more than a proving ground for the technology, but I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a subscription service eventually, because they can't keep giving this data away for the scenery. It's literally tens of gigabytes an hour. Yeah, if you paid for this data in Azure, you would, I dread to think what it would cost. That's probably the biggest takeaway from Flight Simulator, is you are getting an enormous amount of streamed data for free. And you might think, that's great, but Google do the same with maps. No, they don't. Not for fun. When Google track your location in Google Maps, that's useful data that can be sold. Not necessarily directly, it's knowing the places you are near. So then they can sell advertising to organisations that are near places you regularly frequent. So they're not selling your location directly, they're meeting your location against advertisers who have covered specific areas. It's the same as the kind of the tinfoil hat brigade that say that Facebook are selling your data to advertisers. No, they don't. Nobody does. They take a deal from an advertiser to hit a certain demographic, and they put that advert in front of that demographic for them. The advertiser doesn't get your identity until you go and buy something. Dangerous, isn't it? We can't actually see the ground. Well, we can, we've got a few thousand feet, but it's not ideal. Should we go inside just to be a bit more careful about this? It's better looking from above, isn't it? Like that. Maybe just scoot forwards a little bit. I think you'll find 400 million. I'm just reading the comments about there was a class action lawsuit recently. 400 million really isn't much in the grand scheme of things when you're operating at the scale that Microsoft does. So we're about 8 miles or 6 miles out from Ukiah Muni. I don't know if it's Ukiah or Ukiah. You can see the runway already. So if we have a look at the wind, so it's going to be a crosswind again, so we'll do, I guess we do left or right circuit would be better this time, wouldn't it, because of the hill. So let's come off the throttle, start descending. Okay, just approaching on the downwind leg. Descending as we go. Should we look out this side as we come past? See the airfield then. The sun's slowly going down on us. I hope we get to San Francisco before the sun goes down. Hopefully, that'd be quite cool though, wouldn't it? Because then we'll get the sunset. It's a big runway. It's deceptively big. Somebody on the ground down there has just appeared and then disappeared. So let's put flaps to the middle position. A sudden takeoff there, but it will do. Let's see what's in the parking lot, shall we? Whoa, look at all these buildings. This is crazy. It must be a shopping mall, I guess. Or a retail park next to the airfield. Looks like it, doesn't it? What's next on our route, so we carry on the same direction. "23 miles to Cloverdale Municipal." Let's see if we can fly backwards. Oh, someone's just put their plane in a field over there. It's unfortunate. See some nav lights behind me. It's funny, whenever I see the nav lights, it always reminds me of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Every single time. So someone's asking in the comments which map I'm using in Little Nav Map. If you go and Google Little Nav Map Google Maps, you will see somebody made a pack of files that you have to download. It's completely unofficial. There's a pack of files you download and you upload them into the... It tells you in the instructions with the download where to put them on your computer inside the Little Nav Map directory. And then you get access to the Google Maps within Little Nav Map. Isn't it funny how the nature of the hills is changing as we get further south? They're turning into more rolling hills. Just trimming the plane out to go to not carry on climbing so heavily. Okay, so how are we doing on the fuel this time? We're on the middle tank. Got lots left. So we're not far away from the bay now. 20 miles down to Cloverdale, then 18 over to Charles M. Schultz, which is Sonoma County. wave to my cousin as I go past. She lives just near the airport there. At some point we're going to do a group flight around San Francisco, and I'm going to get my cousin to sit in on the group flight and tell everybody about the Bay Area, because for many years she ran a produce delivery business around the San Francisco Bay Area, so she knows it absolutely inside out. Oh, just seen the comment from Matthew. Yes, thank you very much. Gary R says, I wish you could get little nav map on the Xbox. Yeah, I guess it's the problem, isn't it? Xbox is almost a computer. The trouble is, it's kind of a closed ecosystem for very good reason. See how far away we are from the bay. We should start to see it in the far distance soon. So I guess we could shortcut this and go straight for the Marin Headlands after Charles M. Schultz. We'll go to Sonoma. It would be a shame, wouldn't it, otherwise? We can still go and visit the city. Everybody's trying to get me over the 10,000 mark on the subscribers now. Yeah, I really don't sell myself enough on the simulator, to be honest. I really should try a bit more. I never tell people to click the subscribe or like, because to be honest, if I'm watching a YouTube video, I don't take any notice of people saying that. I think people have got their own mind and they don't want me telling them what to do. If people like the content, they will subscribe. It's funny, I never set out to become a YouTuber as such, even though I got called it the other day and I thought, oh my word, I suppose I really am a little bit, but all I was doing was sharing some videos of things I'd done in a sim for a laugh. And then before I knew it, I had 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, it was all a bit crazy. How are we doing on the route? Let's have a look. So we're just hand flying it, I'm not using autopilot at all. I've been amazed actually, the Beaver flies along, it's so stable. Okay, I've turned the wind or turned the weather off just to light cloud. But even so, should we go and see what the weather's doing actually? If we go weather, actually rather than do it in the sim and get a sudden shock, I'll show you all something you may not know about this. If we go to windy.com on the internet and we go and find the San Francisco area, we're just north of at the moment. So you can see the wind being animated, which is quite cool. So you can see how fast the wind is. If you go and click on a particular place, it will actually tell you that 3 knots. So there is hardly any wind now, so versus earlier it was awful, wasn't it? So if we go live weather now, there we go. It's not so different. And you get the realistic weather banks now instead of the ridiculous light weather fluffy clouds. There we go, Flight Simulator doing its usual painterly thing it does at sunset. Lose my amateur status. What's an amateur status? Does that mean I get called a YouTuber? I think I'm a bit too old to be called a YouTuber somehow. I'm going to be 50 next March, or this March, sorry. It is funny how many people think I'm a real pilot. It does amuse me. What are we doing? You'd know if I was a real pilot because I'd be doing all the checks and balances around doing all the safety checks on the aircraft, and I don't. Quite famously, I don't. Right, we can see the airfield directly in front of us. It's way down there. Got a little way to go yet though. So wind up here is 18 knots. On the ground is nothing like as strong. So we're fighting into a headwind at the moment, but it won't always be that way. So we're going to go straight in at Cloverdale because of the wind, but we will check. If you hover over the airfield in Little Nav Map, you get a pop-up and it tells you, and you can see the METAR there. The third group of characters is the one that's important. So it's 190 degrees, 06 knots. So it's 6 knots on the ground from 190 degrees. Okay? Oh, there's an aeroplane in front of us. Should we chase it? No, my aeroplane is complaining. It's starting to make noises. So I won't chase it. I think, I'm just reading the comments, I think you need like 500,000 subscribers to get like a plaque or anything from YouTube. It's certainly a lot. It might be 100,000. Certainly not 10,000. Okay, we're going to come in fast with no flaps and see how we get on. I have no idea how this plane will behave on a fast approach with no flaps. Although saying that, we've got the headwind, which is going to slow us down. So it might just naturally pull us into the ballpark for a nice landing. May even have to open the engine up. Yeah, we're going to have to. Goes the flaps. Okay, let's have a look at the route. 18 miles, 139 degrees, down to Charles M. Schultz, Sonoma County. Give my cousin a call, let her know I'm coming. I could at least print my own business card. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? If you were so up yourself, you had to tell people on your business card how many subscribers you'd got. I think I'd probably laugh at myself. Okay, so we'll look at this amazing scenery. I mean, look at that. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Oh my word, look at that cloud. You expect the Independence Day spaceship to come out of it, don't you? And we're going to fly underneath it. Oh my word, what is it with the San Francisco Bay, hey? It's got its own microclimate, hasn't it? That's just insane. So we're going to be heading underneath that soon. It's just smog city today, isn't it? Who knew that San Francisco was going to do this to us? And don't say everybody. That is a seriously impressive load of smog over the city. We should really keep an eye out. Yeah, you can see here comes Sonoma County. Oh no, that's Headsburg, sorry. They were about to pass by. Sonoma County's out in front of us somewhere in the murk. So if we just scoot forwards, we can actually see this little airfield. I've got my head stuck in the cabin. So that little airfield was here. Healdsburg, I'm not sure how you... This is live weather, so this is showing you there's a huge smog bank over San Francisco. We're about to fly underneath it, so we may be into instrument conditions, which will be interesting. But we'll carry on, and we'll see how we go. This is the advantage of flying with live weather. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, that's like a painting, isn't it? I'm going to have to take a screenshot of that one, otherwise people won't believe it. Right, we can see the lights of Sonoma County Airfield in front of us. That's just crazy weather, isn't it? I'll have to take some more screenshots, I'm afraid. Good point, actually. If I go and turn the landing lights on, will they light the mist up? You can't obviously see them yet. It's not thick enough to light it up immediately. Just wondering if you get some cones showing up. So, which way we got? The wind is direct, so we'll go straight in for runway 14 at Sonoma County. Yeah, it should be fine. Almost just over here. I can see it on a 4K monitor. You won't be able to see it unless I zoom in. It's just in the mist, just appearing. ICAO code for Sonoma County is Kilo Sierra Tango Sierra. We're on the Southeast Asia multiplayer server if you're wanting to join us and join in the fun at San Francisco Bay with the live weather. So sun is going down and there's a huge smog bank by the look of it over the entire bay, which may curtail our activities. We'll continue down to the bay just in the off chance that we'll be able to see a thing. At least we've got some radio beacons in the bay though that we can fly by, which is useful, so we can fly towards the Sierra Gulf Delta VOR. It's madness, isn't it? Okay, let's concentrate on the landing, or touch and go I should say. It's a huge runway here. You can land 737 here without too much trouble. So no problem for a Beaver. It's a bit gusty. Okay, so next leg we need to turn left to 122 degrees to head off towards Sonoma Valley. Hardly any wind. It's really odd, isn't it? It's just super misty. So Rudin the Great is joining us in an F-14B. Well, I won't see you as one because I haven't got it installed. I'm probably never going to fly it again after the run-in I had with DC Designs. I had the temerity to compare it to the DCS Tomcat, and they didn't react kindly to it. In fact, they reacted as apparently they react to most people who question anything they do, by being very, very objectionable people and not taking any kind of constructive comment at all. I've heard quite a lot of people now have gone back to Just Flight asking for refunds for the Harrier. Apparently it's full of bugs, and if you go to DC Designs asking about those bugs, you get pretty short shrift apparently, which is not great. It's a shame. Anyway, I'm trying not to get involved in it. I'll just do me and let other people take care of their own community. Okay, so if we look out over that way, that's towards the Marin Headlands, and that all looks very pretty over there, and obviously there's the sun coming. Oh, I don't know, should we go over there straight away? See the sun coming down. Do we think we've got time to get to Sonoma? And then, yeah, we have. We've got time to do this. Famous last words. You can always wind time backwards, of course. It is a simulator. Oh, we need to look at the fuel, don't we? Middle tank's down to 8, so we can probably get all the way to the next airfield without changing. Just be mindful of this hill that's in our way. I call it a hill, that's probably being very disingenuous. It's probably a mountain. North Sonoma Mountain Regional Park. We're about to fly over the top of. In between the mountains and the cloud base, which is getting alarmingly close. It might be good fun just to nip into the cloud base to make everything disappear. Yeah, I don't quite understand. I mean, to each their own, but I would never get a jet fighter for Flight Simulator. I'd rather spend the money on one of the DCS aircraft, because at least then you can go and blow stuff up. Having said that, I was talking to somebody about DCS the other day. I think I'd have to get a head tracker to get seriously into DCS, because with the study level planes, it is a huge handicap trying to control where you're looking, as well as click on things in the cockpit. downloaded the F-86 Sabre on a free trial in DCS the other night, because every 6 months you can download any aircraft you like for, I think it's 2 weeks or 10 days, something like that, in DCS. So you can try all of the aeroplanes out just on a, for a limited time. So we're going over the Sonoma Mountains National Park, was it? Well, you can see this is just smog that's causing the darkness. Yeah, we're just about to go into the cloud. It's just happening now. So I'm going to dip down lower because we are quite a way above the ground. Just to get away from the cloud base. And look at the air clearing as we come out of it. Still looks pretty amazing out there though, doesn't it? So we've got plenty of time to fly down to the Golden Gate. We should get there just about in time for sunset by the look of it. Famous last words. Should we open the engine up? Go quite a bit faster. Get a move on. Ooh, we're up to 9,959 subscribers. I don't think we are going to make it tonight, but getting closer. So you can see the edge of the bay now, which is good. So I think the airfield we're heading for is out on this flat area, just to the left of the hill here. You can probably see it actually. Zoom in. Not quite yet. It's not rendered it just yet. Oh, is it formation flying 5 minutes? Let me get in the window then. There we go. I'll formate on your wing, whoever that is. Where are we in relation to the airfield? Let me get away from you again. Slow down. you see the airfield. It should be down here somewhere. Knots from the south, so they're going to have a crosswind. Here it is. Rude and the Great, Southeast Asia. Yeah, we're on the Southeast Asia server. We're just approaching Sonoma Valley, OQ3, or 0Q3, sorry. So we're at the top end of the San Francisco Bay Area. Actually, should we come in from the hillside? Because then we don't have the hill to climb over. The runway's just down here behind the fascia of the aircraft. There's the runway. It's quite a narrow runway. Should be fine. Whoa, the sim just froze. Now, why did it freeze? Let's give it a few seconds. It's probably just the multiplayer has crashed. Nope, the sim's broken. There it goes. Okay. Oh, I'm going to call it a night there. So the sim blew to pieces. We'll continue tomorrow night, I guess, if I get time. So I'll see you all again soon. It was good fun while it lasted until the sim blew up for no reason whatsoever. Okay, see you all again soon. Thanks for following along, and we'll get through 10,000 tomorrow. Hurrah! See you soon.